Yeah. Oh God, what's happening? Sorry, I'm on a Windows and it's just done something crazy.
We're live.
It's Windows 8, so Christ, who knows. Anyway, that's a good way to start a video. Hello everyone, welcome. It's Monday. We're on TVP UK. It's the Trom series again. This week we're doing ownership and self-confidence. Well, a sense of ownership and social status to give it its full title for the first video, and the second video is self-confidence. We've just been having a little chat, and we've basically gone on to self-confidence. Windows, and that's just something crazy.
We're live.
It's Windows 8, so Christ, who knows. Anyway, that's a good way to start a video. Hello everyone, welcome. It's Monday. We're on TVP UK. It's the Trom series again. What's happening? We're doing ownership and self-confidence. Sense of ownership and so got that? Full title.
Yeah.
Just having a little chat. We've basically gone on to self-confidence. That's just crazy. Oh God. Okay, was it just me that heard myself looped back about a minute later through Antonio?
No, I heard that as well, and it was coming back through Antonio's thingy because I muted Antonio.
Yeah. Why was it late? That's the problem.
I don't know. It's like there's a lag.
Yeah. Let's try Antonio. I hope you can hear us and see what's going on in real time now. I'm gonna unmute you and hopefully things will be okay. Yeah. That's the problem.
I don't know. It's like there's a lag.
Yeah. Let's try Antonio. I hope you can hear us.
Yeah, it seems like it's cleared up a little bit now.
Things will be okay.
I just heard Aiden again.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I'll give it a go.
That happened last week. I don't understand.
Yeah. It's weird.
He had headphones on as well, didn't he? No, he didn't. Still. Tom, can you hear us in real time?
Yep.
Yeah. It wasn't Antonio last week, it was Ads, wasn't it? They messed up.
Yeah.
Oh. Maybe we can make it back in. There he is.
Is it working better now?
I think so.
Sounds alright.
Yeah. Do you know what I think it is? Basically, you know the first link that you sent. I clicked on it and I think it opened another window, so I had two windows running back to back. So I've closed both of them and just opened one now, so it should be okay. So apologies for that.
That sounds like might have been the problem. Thanks. My confusion earlier. So weird. Okay, never mind. Awesome. So we're here, and after that, what are we doing? Oh yeah, self-confidence. And basically, we're kind of in the pre-discussion. We're talking about why people can't say, I don't know, I think Nick, you were about to say something before I cut us off.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. It's not always easy to say when we've led our whole lives subconsciously flagging people, like not ever thinking that we're wrong, or that we could be wrong. So, like when doing, say, TVP presentations, we've got to be self-conscious about our subconscious sort of thing, making sure that we don't spout a load of bullshit. But also, like, I had a question, like, I forgot who said something about blind faith, and I think it's a good question to ask. Have we got blind faith in Venus Projects or a resource-based economy, or is that how other people see it as having like a blind faith to it?
I think if we're going to be honest, for me at least, there's an element of faith. Because I haven't sat down and I haven't done all the experiments that I've read about, and I haven't, all this is kind of has to be taken at the moment on, well, I've read a book by Sapolsky or, Skinner or Jock or like Buckminster Fuller. I haven't physically gone and done the Immaculate Pig experiment, but I think it proves something still. So to an extent, I think we do still have to believe, but at the same time, I think we can recognize that kind of belief and open. Well, I try to be as open as possible to changing my mind with like if new evidence arises.
Somebody made a good point earlier. It was something I posted about. The title of the video is something to do with the split between TZM and TVP, but it's basically nothing to do with the argument. It's just talking about how it doesn't matter what it's called, sort of thing. We're all wanting the same thing. And he was saying within that argument that NASA already use like a resource-based economy style system. So, and I think this is something that Roxanne was looking to go into in the new documentary series when it comes out. Hopefully, I saw the trailer and she was talking to a guy from NASA who runs systems that have got to be like self-sustaining or like closed loop systems. But it just made it look a lot more viable, or at least sound more viable. And again, like we could be wrong.
I didn't quite get what we were saying with that. Sorry, there was a bit earlier where someone said, the Zygotes and the Venus Project, we all want the same thing. That is way too much self-confidence. We cannot know the same thing. It's the same. Like a resource-based economy is the same as capitalism. It's the same as freedom. It's not a real entity yet, so we can't be talking about the same physical thing. And so all these people that say, like Money Free Party, they say we want the same thing. They're like, well, you obviously don't, because the methods to get there are different. There is no state. There's the methods to get there and to continue on. So, and try and have this conversation with one of them. It's hard, but I don't know.
I think what they mean to say is that they're against the same thing, not that they're for the same thing.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Anyway. Nick, you asked the question there, yeah? I tried horribly to answer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you answered like if we're honest, we have kind of got a bit of faith. Is it blind faith though? And again, is that how other people see us as having like a blind faith? Because we're not really, like you say, we're not doing any tests or anything. We think this will work. So.
I think a lot of people probably do, and this is where I think if we can show people that we can change our minds and we're open and stuff like this, we used to think differently, which is always a good. I used to think of this, but now it's always a good kind of thing to show that you've changed, things may change.
Yeah.
I used to think like this, now I think like this, but in the future, who knows, I could think like something else.
Yeah.
I mean, with criticism regarding things, but I could discuss it unless I'm given like a direct point of criticism to discuss. So, for example, how we feed the world's population, I can answer that, but I can't answer something where it's simply, how would you know that what you believe is true? I mean, like, I need specifications. I need to know that they understand what it is that I advocate, because a lot of the time people just like to use these general broad questions in order to try and it's kind of like an emotionally oriented discussion. It's not really logically oriented.
Yeah.
I think this is the one of the big issues, really, isn't it? Because that's where the divide is. You have the people that believe on one side of the fence, people that have faith on one side of the fence, and then you have people that are more scientific and more logic on the other side of the fence. So there's that divide, and it's basically, if you look at that in terms of an issue, then how do you find a solution for that? What is the way forward in terms of building a bridge between that divide, if that's the solution, or maybe just let the logics get on with it and let the faith people get on with it? I don't know what the answer is.
I mean, a lot of times when talking to people, like you said, if they are those people who don't really subscribe to logic-based thinking, then it's not a question around answering the question. I have to start back from like really, really far behind in my method of thinking to get to that point, in order to explain basic logical principles of like science, etc., that they don't understand or they don't believe to exist, kind of thing. And often we have to abstract from the question at hand, and that can get difficult, and people get frustrated with that as well. So obviously education's like a massive part of if we're like moving towards a scientific based society, really.
And really, I think again, logic is self-confident. Logic is not. Is kind of in the same line as faith. You just believe purely in logic, because logic is this arbitrary set of rules, basically. If you think of pure mathematical logic, and it's basically just believing that 2 + 2 = 4. That's the only reason why it does. Because you believe those two symbols mean that. It's very hard to
Yeah, I mean, when I
two sets of two identical things.
Yeah,
So
when I say logic, I mean there's.
Sorry, go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say there's loads of different interpretations for the word logic, I suppose. What I mean is just principles, like scientific principles, like basically alleviating yourself from the belief system, not necessarily believing in facts and figures, just being able to question sufficiently, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's logic is basically tangibility, isn't it? It's what you can see, what you can smell, what the five senses depict, basically. And if you're talking about something like faith, then it's almost like you're having to believe in something that's non-tangible. So yeah, it is a big conundrum, really. It's how can you get the most devout religious follower to think scientifically? If we can answer that question, then we might be on a road to progress.
I think that's it, getting the education to the children, the next generation. I keep saying this, like the next generation that's going to change most entirely. And if they're all learning like religions and not questioning things or what they've been told or research or do tests to check what they know, what they think they know, then the subject to like religions keeping them their faith stubborn and dogmatic. So,
Yeah, and it's not just religion anymore either. Like in terms of belief, yeah, faith-based thinking. Like most of what I see is culture-based. That's where it comes from. Faith-based thinking. It's culture influences these like logical fallacies that people just adhere to without questioning, just as religion does.
yeah, like I seem to when I've questioned anybody religious, and it's the same when you question anybody who's not religious. We've all got like their own perspective on the world, which you could, I suppose, say is a belief. And even the people that are religious, each and every one of them that I talk to seems to have a different view on their religion or their core beliefs. So I think we've got to start treating people as individuals as well, but accept that we ourselves, every individual one of us, has a belief that we should make sure it's malleable and subject to change with new information.
Yeah, I think that's the key, isn't it? It is about acceptance, because I think everyone's faith, it's like Hayden said, logic could be someone's faith, so it's a personal thing, isn't it? It's about respecting that person's personal belief, regardless of what it is, whether they believe in logic or UFO or God or whatever. That's personal to them. So it might not equate well with your logical reasoning, but it makes them happy. And if you can educate them in a way where they can actually see the truth, then all the better for it. But if they're unwilling to look at the truth for what it is, and they're happy in their belief, it's about accepting that and respecting it at the same time.
Yeah, I kind of touched on that when I did I did a little character. Well, sorry, it wasn't even character development. It was just an idea for a comic, where like the scientists did all the work and the religious people kind of did the creative things, and they weren't interested, in each other's beliefs. They didn't care that one believed in science and one believed in religion, sort of thing. They just got on with it. Like the religious people didn't run the systems, like the scientists and the technicians run the systems. The religious people just lived. So,
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was gonna say, in terms of respecting people's beliefs, I don't know what that means. It obviously depends on what you mean by respect, but personally, I try and change people's opinions and beliefs whenever I come across someone who clashes with myself. And I think that's healthier. I think that's respectable in its sense. If I were a religious person, I would want someone to hammer at me and try and get me to kind of study different approaches to thinking. Not just say you're wrong and you're an idiot. Just tell me, like, give me alternatives, because it's like that mindset, I think, is quite limiting. I think it limits people quite a lot. So I don't know that I respect people who I disagree with. I understand that it's their conditioning that led them to believe that, but I also suppose if their beliefs cause suffering, then I'm not going to respect it.
Yeah, point taken. Maybe respect isn't the appropriate word. I think it's just one of those things, isn't it? Where if you feel that you're pushing somebody beyond their limits and it's causing conflict, then you kind of just say, okay, well, I'm not going to push anymore. And whether you call that respect or whether you call that acceptance, I don't really know what you would word that as. But I understand your point. Yeah.
Maybe patience
Yeah,
and tolerance.
For me,
Whilst
I
trying
would.
to educate.
Yeah, Yeah, for me, I'd correlate that to something kind of like strategic, in that obviously if someone's getting wound up at what I'm saying, I'm not going to be able to communicate with them properly, so I would like stop there, and I wouldn't let their emotional state ruin the conversation, kind of thing. So it wouldn't be a case of I don't want to upset them, it'd be a case of I don't want to soil the conversation. You know, there's no real point in continuing it. So
Yeah,
I agree,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, no, I completely get your point. I think we're both right. We're both kind of saying the same thing in different ways, but yeah, it is. That's the thing, though, isn't it? You know, I think this is the one of the big problems in the world around us, is that we have so many religions, and with that comes so many divides, and with those divides comes, you know, comes issues and problems, and who's right and who's wrong, and what have you. So the question is, do we eliminate all the religions, or, you know, I don't know. I don't have all the answers. You know, it goes back to that self-confidence thing. You know, I'm happy to say I don't have the answers. But.
With regards to like religion and its kind of future, is if you solve all the problems a religion tries to teach about, then there would be no point. So, like, the pastor wouldn't be going up and saying, you know, give everyone chip in £5 for the food or whatever, because people would have food, and like the problems that they would be preaching about would already be solved. So, like, what do you actually have to say? That's generally how he sees overall tone on the relationship. Not so much an attack on the people who are religious. That's the thing with self-confidence. People would tear down someone's self-confidence, and you've got a problem on your hand. They'll either start attacking you or bullying themselves. Something's going to go bad. So it's kind of like easing that change and allowing them to move on in a way that's kind of easiest for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, if the kids growing up have got the access to information and are taught to question things as they grow up, then they're not just going to believe what they're told by the parents. Like I used to be a racist nationalist quite well a year or two back, not even that far back, and because the people around me, like, that's how I'd been brought up. Oh, stay away from them, stay away from them, and then like it's only because I started to question things that changed my mind on that. So I think with these religions, at the minute, you're not allowed to question your parents or the teachers that teach these religions. You've just got to learn them and don't question them. So I think in the future, when it's good to question things and we have access to more information, all information, then like, I think religion will die out. Unless
That's a really good point.
Yeah, I from my perspective, the way that I see it is that, you know, I try and trace it back within my own logic as far back as I can. So to me, you know, I kind of go back to kind of tribal settings. So before we had commerce, before we had politics, before we had like the whole conglomerate, the machine, you know, religion, and because when we look at religion now, it's a money-making machine, really, isn't it? You know, it's you know, it's very big buildings and this kind of stuff. But if we go way back, you know, where the idea of a belief or a religion started, we can see that it's evident within those tribal communities that don't have any kind of established westernized society or civilization within their culture, but they still have some kind of mystical connection, be it with nature, or, you know, they try to understand you know, their experiences, whether it's with, you know, hallucinogenics or you know, shamanic rituals or what have you. You know, so I think from my perspective, modern day religion is just a bigger, more monopolized version of that. But then it's still raises the question as to why does that exist in a tribal setting? Why is there that level of mysticism? Why is there that level of shamanism? You know.
Answer that.
Okay.
Now I would say there's quite a large divide with like big religion, Christian, all that kind of stuff compared to small tribal shaman. There's quite a large divide, but generally in terms of like early kind of human development, your brain does this association stuff. It has this confidence stuff built into it biologically. It kind of like tries to combine things and make up answers out of nothing. Because that's kind of how the brain works. It's how we kind of try to learn things and realize, oh, that means that means behavior. And like, so we kind of combine things and try them out. And sometimes they stick. They really shouldn't be. And so when I see, okay, let's say the people doing ayahuasca and getting these hallucinations or coming back with visions and stuff, I see them misunderstanding what's happening and placing significance in events that it isn't really there. They're tripping out, they're going through this crazy experience, and yes, it's really interesting, all that kind of stuff. And then they place, the universe was talking to me, or some deity was talking to me. And I always just think, why would it be your God that talks to you? Why would you go into a completely random God decided to talk to you? Or something that is really unique, really alien. Whereas it's always, they come back with a mixed up bag of various associations that they already had in their brain.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, but it's still for me, the question still remains as to why is that part of our human experience? Why is it there?
Okay, I look further into neurobiology. Like, there's a really good lecture series by Robert Sapolsky all about behavioral biology, and I'm getting to see glimmers of things that can help with that. Like, for instance, what anticipation is about. And we get this little chemical rush. We anticipate an event, so we get prepared for that event. And then if our anticipation is true, then we get a reward with a little thing, with a little chemical thing. And that kind of helps to set that association in your brain. And so when you're walking along, I think that's a tiger, I'm going to get out of the way. Oh look, it actually was a tiger, I'm going to run now. That's really good. It helps us kind of learn. Sometimes we can get these kind of associations and they stick and they don't actually have real reference because we're always going through perception.
Yeah, point taken. And it is a very logical, scientific point of view. And it makes sense to me. It makes sense, but I still always have that kind of niggling. It's just like a feeling, like, why is there such a thing as religion? Why is there such a thing as faith? Why do we have this feeling that empowers us? Why do we have roots that kind of, I don't know. Maybe it's part of our evolution. Maybe it's something that we have to bypass. We have to overcome. We have to be more. We have to look back on it and say, well, okay, we kind of misunderstood that part of our experience, our human experience, and it's something that we have to grow out of, we have to evolve out of,
Have I talked to you at all about spiral dynamics?
Spiral dynamics, sorry?
Yeah.
No, I don't think so, no.
Okay, I'll get a link out towards the end. It's kind of interesting, it kind of does touch upon things we've been talking about, I guess. It's very similar to, the Maslow, or whatever it is, temple of needs, or hierarchy of needs kind of thing. Except it's open-ended. The whole idea is it's open-ended. It's this constant swing back and forth between individualistic, collectivistic, and you kind of go up this spiral. And it's very interesting. It kind of goes through it basically goes through our history and kind of defines them. It is this kind of long thing, but they kind of split it up into sections of. Well, originally we needed food, basic kind of needs to survive. That was just survivalistic straight off with. And then, well, we kind of see some things happen. We kind of get a very brief understanding of causality, start placing stuff into things that we come across without really understanding. That's kind of shamanism level, and that kind of flies in with group ties in with small bands of people. Then you get kind of a collectivist group outlet from that, and so then the swing back is to more into a fighting, kind of more individualistic, out there explorers, kind of Vikings type people. And it kind of like goes back and forth with this, and it's I'm not saying it's there. It obviously needs work. It's not 100%, but it's kind of interesting.
It sounds it. I'd love to see that. Yeah, if you've got the link, please send that, man.
Just going on to sense of ownership. I think the quote was, "You can't own anything," which kind of made sense to me after a minute. Like, but how do we get that across to people? Like, because a sense of property is normal. Like, I feel like I own this laptop, and I know, like, it can be taken away, and everything I've got can be either broken or taken away. But how do we get the we can't own anything across to people?
What do you mean?
Like in the video, she says we can't physically own anything, and it's a good like we want to try and get things across to people. Like we want access to property instead of ownership. So when everybody's normal sense of property is that we can own things, how do we describe to them that we can't actually own things? Like,
well, I mean, the first way I'd go about it, obviously, it depends on the person you're talking to, because their individual values and biases will change, like how you talk and stuff. But I'd ask to them to define ownership. Then I'd try and follow by, obviously, depending on the response, but I try and mention that it's not ownership that people want, but it's access to things when they want it and when they need it. And then describe how an environment of abundance would phase out ownership. People would not feel the need to own things, basically. Go about it that way. Because it's obvious. I think people who like believe that ownership is necessary would be people who are still thinking within a scarcity-based environment, basically.
Yeah. I thought as well the Helsinki article in the chat box is about an ambitious plan of Helsinki trying to make ownership of cars pointless. I'm guessing they're going to do some sort of thing with automated taxis. But I think that's one way to show that we don't need ownership, but access is better.
Yeah. Okay, does anyone else have anything to bring up regarding Trom?
She says.
There's the social. Sorry.
Go on in.
Well, there's the social status side, not just ownership, which is really cool. And he kind of pointed out to an interesting thing, which is that it's all this divide and conquer bullshit. We know this, and the things that they provisioned for people, kind of like similar to us, who are pissed off in the system. They've created things called protests. They created things called e-ballots and that kind of stuff, which doesn't change anything. And it's something that I don't think people that I talk to don't often understand why I don't really go to protests or anything. Or if I do go to a protest, I'm there to talk to the protesters, not to do anything. I don't know. Do people feel that, or do they like that it's maliciously designed that for that outlet is protest drugs? just be homeless and go and live in a crack den. That's really the outlet for people.
Yeah, well, I think Robert Sapolsky talks about as well, like, it's always the rich, the poor having a go at the poor instead of, like, and we don't really want to have a go at the rich either, but, like, it's the rich that have got the control at the moment, or some of it. When I think Spolsky was talking about when it's displaced aggression, it's always like the poor, because they're uneducated, always seem to go for the poor, the nearest thing to them, instead of thinking about it and going to where the resources, etc. are. But like I was talking to a couple of friends at work, are nationalists, and then there's lots of foreign people where I work, and I get on with everybody. Like, but I was asking one of my foreign friends if he'd have come to England, if he'd have got his basic needs, you know, like his house, food, water, etc. And he just straight away said no. He says no. Why would I come to England if I didn't need fucking extra money or whatever? So then, like, to try and get through to a nationalist about why a resource-based economy would be good for them was just trying to explain that if everybody had what they wanted, there's not a lot of people that have come to England because our weather's shit.
I reckon most people would move towards the equator.
Yeah. Like, I think everybody gets sick of English people actually.
Alright, David?
Alright, mate. How's it going? Anyway, yeah, I was going to say on ownership, sorry. Actually, I wasn't and started talking. But I will continue. With ownership, if we all have enough, then it does disappear. I know we mentioned that. And now I've started talking, my train of thought's gone away a little bit, which is always helpful. But we're all part of the same Earth. We're all directly and intrinsically connected to the Earth because we're all made of the same atoms and different formulas to the trees and everything else around us. We're all part of the Earth. The Earth is part of our system and all the other planets, and that's part of the universe as a whole. So we're all part of the same thing. We're all of the same inheritance of this Earth and the universe. So we share, and everybody has enough. We have enough resources to create an abundance, and I think that's an important point we need to get across to people. We're all the same. We're all one and different and vibrant, and that's beautiful. We should celebrate that and connect more rather than divide into nationalist groups like was just mentioned, you know, and be more open-minded.
Right, so how about... Great.
No, that's right, continue.
Sorry, David, I'm getting a lot of feedback from you for a sec. Unmute yourself. So this is one of the classic questions. I thought I'd throw to you guys as I saw it again this week. So how can we claim there's going to be abundance if surely not everybody's going to be able to afford a £1,000 Lamborghini and a giant house in the hills? Anyone want to take that?
The thing is, are we still gonna need that though? Like, you know, if we do enter a resource-based economy, maybe the things that we once treasured are not no longer going to be valued anymore.
Yeah, it's going back to aesthetics and utility again. One, we're not going to need them, and two, like, it's going to be run on, like, you can't have Africa as your back garden. I think Peter Joseph said that, because obviously if everybody had Africa as a back garden, there'd be like 5 people on the earth or something like that. But you've got to go with what the resources allow for, and like Antonio just said, like, if we've got like automated taxis that can pick you up and take you somewhere, then you don't need to own a Lamborghini or whatever. Or, I mean, there might be a racetrack for people that want to race and like crash or whatever. But like, you'd go and just rent the vehicle or just use the vehicle and then take it back and it'd be fixed when you left it. You know what I mean? Or overnight or whatever. We just got to work within the resources that we've got
Yeah, I think for me it's just going back to the point of logic, really, isn't it? Is if you create a resource-based economy, then our priorities completely changed. It's almost like entering a completely new paradigm, a new way of thinking, a new way of behaving, a new way of acting, and with that transformation, we kind of let go of a lot of the things that that created unhealthy competition and created divide and created animosity and all of those things. I suppose we kind of evolve out of that state of being. But I was gonna mention just on that kind of point of the resource-based economy. Is there nothing is there not a model that is in existence where that's kind of been done on a small scale somewhere, where the model can just be adopted and then implemented on a larger scale? Is there not like a small community or a small village where they've had some kind of resource-based economy alone without the need for money?
Basically, no. Because the lack of money does not a resource-based economy make. Speaking like a basically, various different projects around the world are either consciously or unconsciously emulating bits and pieces of these projects, or bits and pieces of a resource-based economy. However, they all have to live within the grander monetary economy. Even if you're off the grid monetary-wise, you have to live in a monetary world where people are chopping down the trees halfway across the world. But that affects you. Same with Gulf streams and the weather system in place up in Siberia. There's tons of things that happen around the world that affect us all. So any small scale system has to be can only be a part. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So then the question arises as to if that is the case, how do we go about it? Because what you're saying is we can't do it on a small scale, basically. So therefore, how do we go about implementing a global, a global resource-based economy? Because in a sense, it's about changing the culture, isn't it? The culture that exists. What is the challenge to allowing that to take place? Do we do it from a political level? Do we go into politics and change it that way? Do we hang out with all of the top 10 richest people in the world and get them to create it? What's the way forward in that respect? It's a difficult question to answer, but I think it's a prominent one.
Well, there's kind of many.
I don't know.
Sorry, Dave. David, do you want to say something? Because I just
continue. I'll go again. Sorry.
Okay. I just got thanks. How we do about doing this? Okay. In some of the 70s lectures, Jacques definitely talks about this. He basically thinks through movies that we can get a much bigger reach. The documentary series is a much more useful application of their time than going and petitioning politicians. That's what they think. That's it. Tom's got the roadmap there, which points out how basically their plan. And yeah, in a way, they're gonna be starting in a very similar way that we want, which is once we kind of start getting the movies out, more and more people getting influenced through the movies. Then the idea is the first test city, which, like, you could try and call it a mini RBE, you'd be wrong, but it would be more like what a resource-based economy city would be than, say, a small village somewhere that doesn't have any electricity or something like that. They want to do one of their high-tech cities to really show what can be done with like Jacques' design, and then build a new city. And that's the way they really see it going, just building more cities, getting more people. Because once you get the city, people can actually go there and see it and visualize it. Then you get more and more people getting involved, and you see it taking off with more and more cities in these lines, rather than going, petitioning the UN. We need everyone to come together and make a resource-based economy across the world. That is bloody hard.
Okay, so if I've got it right, basically what you're trying to say is that it's an idea that has to manifest gradually. It's not like an idea you can just dump on top of an already existing paradigm. It's something that has to be cultivated and nurtured, and then eventually the fruits of those seeds that are planted are gonna come forth. Basically, is that right?
Yeah. Through the films, the idea is to educate and inform people out of their current value sets and towards a resource-based economy. You can do that through these films in a more subtle way than asking David Cameron tomorrow to turn around and go, everyone, let's make UK the first RBE or something silly like that.
Okay, makes a lot of sense. I'm definitely on board with that.
Cool. Yeah, the roadmap's really good.
For more. What?
Tom.
Me? Okay. I was going to say, regarding politics, we did a radio show on that, which we were talking to Money Free Party, which is, well, the guy that we were talking to advocates the Money Free Party, which would be a way of using politics to institute something like a resource-based economy. We had a pretty good discussion on that, so that's worth checking out, if you're interested in that.
Yeah, definitely. I've bookmarked all of these links, so I'm going to be doing a lot of reading and watching a bit later.
Nice. Have I given you our radio channel YouTube?
No, you haven't, not yet.
No, we need to, Tom, this is you and me, and it's more for me, but we need to make sure we start promoting that on our page a bit now, I think. I need to figure out how to do Facebook apps so we can have our radio show that links straight into the YouTube channel.
Sounds good.
Anyway.
Yeah, and when you were saying what can we do, I think like one of the biggest things is like doing this on a Monday when we get together and share ideas and talk about things, but also like when we meet new people and our friends, especially those that meet us on this level as well, people who can interact with face to face and talk about and meet new people when we go out and find those other people that are interested and open to new ideas and spreading the word, when I meet new people and I think they're interesting, like people on this kind of level that are here today. I ask them, have you heard of the Venus Project? And quite a few times now people have said no, and it's not everybody's heard of it. There's lots of things out there, a lot of distractions, lots of things that people see rather than the interesting and important things, and I think it's quite an important idea to get out there. So, and when you meet those other people, you hear their point of view, and when you see common ground and you see things that you see in the world, makes you think a bit more positively about it, because people are responding, people are realizing what we're doing to the earth implicitly by being part of the system. But the only way to change it is to continue with it and keep informing other people and speaking to other people. Jacques said it's about what you do with the information, and by talking to others and interacting with those that agree and disagree, eventually, somewhere down the line, change has got to happen if we keep pushing for it. So I think that's one of the really big things. I forget the name. There's a name for it, but you introduce somebody to somebody you don't know, or you introduce two people you think would get on or don't into the same room, to see what happens. I think it's quite an interesting. Do you get what I mean? I'm not sure about that last bit, if that came across all right.
Yeah, oh, there's a really bad echo there. Yeah, sorry, I understood that completely. I think it is very much about that, because for me it's kind of looking around my community and seeing a sense of, I suppose, hopelessness. There's you look around people and it's almost like, well, what does the future hold? There's so much war, there's so much chaos. And when you come up with an idea as inspiring as the Venus Project, you can actually offer somebody a real lifeline. It's like, this is actually tangible. This is something that we can create. There are kind of systems, there's blueprints, there's technology, there's ideas that are tangible, they're feasible, and I think that is something that is missing from so many people's lives. You know, to have something, you know, that they can say actually there is a hope. You know, because you look around the world and it's a very kind of pessimistic scenario. So to have something as I suppose exciting and cutting edge and inspiring as the Venus Project is a good thing. So yeah, I kind of understood what you were saying basically.
I have something to bring up outside of the Trom videos.
You want me to stop recording or just keep going?
I mean, it's kind of relevant. It's regarding the Pirate Bay.
Oh, yeah.
So the founder and the co-founder of the Pirate Bay have been imprisoned, and the co-founder, I think his name's Stephen Shaw. He can receive mail, he can receive books and things, and I thought he'd be a perfect person to send the Best That Money Can't Buy to. So I was wondering, it'd be cool if we could all chip in a couple of quid, and for the sake of buying the book and postage and packaging, and have it sent from Amazon directly to his cell. And, you know, that's the kind of person with the influence and the power and the preconditioning. That's pretty much perfect.
I'm game for that.
Yeah, how do you want to do it? Do you want to get a little Kickstarter or?
That would be cool.
Between us.
Yeah, and then if we could, yeah, and then post it on Facebook as well, and then that. What do you think?
I was saying, if you get a Kickstarter and go, you know, 1 book is for this, or we can have 2 books and we can send it to these people, or 3 books and we can send it to these people.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
Yeah.
Nice.
It'd be a case of just ordering it from Amazon, so that we don't have to buy it and then post it. We could just order it and then order it to his address.
Yeah.
Do you know his address?
It's unfortunate to hear that.
Posted publicly.
Oh, alright, sweet.
It was posted publicly.
Yeah.
I'm just finding it out again.
See, this is one of the challenges that we have, isn't it? You know, because the minute you come out and you do something, you know, you give something up for free, you know, you have all the oligarchy clamping down on you, you know, and this is one of the things that they're trying to do to deter us from creating such a system, you know.
The thing is, it's so sick because like you go on Pirate Bay and what do you see? You see adverts for Bet365 or you know all these websites that are illegally streaming bits and pieces that I definitely don't go and watch every now and again because it's nice and free. Like they're just pure adverts from legitimate companies. Like not I say legitimate, but, you know, companies like
established, yeah.
You know, I don't know, B&Q I don't think I've seen, but so many like it's always gambling actually, but it's just like if you take down someone for posting a file, then you should take down these. I don't know.
Yeah, it makes complete sense. It's almost like, you know, if there's an opportunity there for advertising, they'll grab it with one hand, and with the other hand, they'll beat you down. You know, it's a contradiction, really, isn't it?
Like getting punched with a punching thing that says Coca-Cola on it.
Yes, these are the things that we're all vying for, isn't it? We're vying for that change, so we can come out of that reality.
Cool. All right. Sorry, it's kind of getting pretty late, so I need to scoot off in a sec. You guys can continue going. Is there anything more already about the video, or should we stop the broadcast? All right. Well, there's some pretty short videos, I guess, this week. Sorry, Tom, you're on a delay. So, what do you want to hear?
Nothing.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Next week, I don't know what we're going to bring yet. The next one or two in the list. I'll make the event for everyone. Thanks.